Hi, Dave. Can you hear me? Hi, Dave. Do you hear me? Okay, you're not muted now, but I'm not hearing you. Okay, Dave, are you muted on your computer itself? Is that why rather than just through the Zoom?
Did you start the meeting, Linda?
No, but as soon as I signed in, it started recording, and I don't know how to turn that off.
Okay.
Cycle of working with the church books. And there are things that we do need to know and understand to really get started in this. Plus, Luann is relatively new to our group. Tonight is Dave's. I think it's your first time, maybe your second. I think it's your first time. So this is a chance to help them get caught up to date with us too. Now, as we learned last year, as we were working with, let's see, that was I don't remember whose problem that was. Was that I don't I'm drawing a complete blank wall here. That you really need to do 100% research in the United States before you can venture overseas. And I think several of you have learned that over the years that you've just got to know that parish. And as I was going through a survey that I gave you guys several years ago dealing with where are you researching and such, many of you had the name of a parish, but you didn't have the county. And there are several of these parishes in Norway that have the same name. The same farm name may show up in many, many different areas of Norway. You have to know the whole kit and caboodle. Like, okay, I live in Urbandale, in Polk County, in Iowa, in the United States. Well, the same is true with dealing with your Norwegian folk. You got to know the parish, the town, the communa, as it's called. You have to know the fylke, which is like the county, our version of a county. You have to know their name of the county, which is equivalent to our state. So, like, my grandma is from Lom in Oppland County and in Norway, and she was from the farm of Åkers. You have to know that whole thing. Otherwise, you just can't search for Ole Olsen in Norway. So if you're struggling and you don't know where in Norway they are from, you have to do more work in the United States. Now, those of you that I'm seeing your faces anyway, how many of you do have the exact location of where your immigrants came from.
I do.
Okay. Okay. You're doing great. Those of you who don't, then, let me know and we can work on that together. You know how I like doing that. So, okay. I'm reading the chat here as I'm trying to keep up with Dave too. Okay, so you have to do that, and you have to have that parish, and you have to have that filka or the name of their equivalent county. Now, places. Uh, the names changed, as you know. And am I already a co-host, Rex?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Um, and now it's going to look like I'm not looking at you. Looks another app is. Can you see my family search screen?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm got a message here that another app is. Oh, never mind. Okay, family search. This is where we always start, and we come once you're signed in. It's a free account. Go to search, and then come down to the research wiki. Now they've made some changes, and I really like what I saw when I pulled this up the other day. It has to think. And I'm not sure why I'm getting it like this. But in this box, which is covered up, I'm not getting the map. I wonder what's wrong here. Maybe it doesn't like sharing my camera. I'll take that off. Keeps wanting me to get help. Okay, we're off to a lousy start. If I click on here, and I'm going to type in loam. Ah, come on. And it won't.
Try refreshing your screen, Linda.
All right, thank you. Why do I not remember that? Probably the same reason why we don't always remember other stuff, huh? Okay, I'm going to type in loam. That's where my grandma is from. And you type so far, and it usually does start with a drop down. Not going to tonight. I'm still getting this message I'm supposed to get help about my camera. Are you having problems with seeing anything?
Not now.
Because it doesn't want to. All right, bear with me here. I can't get this message. All right, I thought I was gonna save us time here. I've got to back out. So it looks like another app is using the camera already. Okay, I don't know what that is. Gee, Dave, isn't technology fun? I can't see on mine and he can't hear on his.
You used WebEx before?
No. Okay, when I click on the get help, it comes up with a chat. Troubleshooting camera. What if I stop the share and we'll try this all over again. Okay, share. It's this one. Well, it's not letting me work on this. I'm going to unplug my camera and start again. Get that.
You go to settings, private, security, camera. It tells you who's using it.
Just a second. I've got to plug it in again. Hang on. Keep that message in mind, Glenna.
That's the name of it.
See, it's not picking up. Okay, what do I do, Glenna? Settings, what?
Yeah, settings is the window button.
And privacy and security.
Privacy and security. And then camera. It'll tell you who's using the camera. And I muted myself.
Okay. Anybody see anything that's strange?
We're just looking at your desktop.
There we go.
One voiced out.
I don't see anything that's unusual.
This is all it says about camera.
No, it shows that my Zoom has a camera, but it's not showing my picture. Oh, because I'm sharing the other screen. Never mind. No, my picture should still be up there in that box, shouldn't it?
It says Microsoft Teams is using your camera too.
Where does it say that? Right here.
You could turn that off.
Yeah.
Microsoft Teams.
Yeah.
There you go.
But when you look at the picture of the little people, it's still coming up with my squirrel.
You know what she's talking about?
When in doubt, reboot.
Yeah.
That's what she's talking
Oh,
about.
okay. Sometimes, let's see, what happens if you use flip camera access on and off?
Where do you flip that on and off? the top.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing. See, this is all that you're seeing. It's not picking up. Oh, video. Okay,
Now we
there's me.
see you.
Now we're going to share. And this one, let's try this again.
We don't normally have this much trouble.
No, I haven't. But there was that big update. There was an emergency update that mine did Sunday night because there was some little loophole that people could get into your account and such. And I was reading where there were just all kinds of people saying that they were just having glitches galore with Windows 11 as a result of that update. Okay. Let me sign in here. There we go. No, it doesn't want to let me go.
Turn my sound off.
What's it not letting you do, Linda?
It's not pulling up my family search. I signed in and I'm stuck here. Okay, we'll try this again. And it's showing my camera one here. Okay, see, I want to sign in. And I usually just, well, let's see if I can do this without signing in. Okay, it's doing that much. I want Loam Parish. And notice it wants you to enter the name.
You're not sharing your screen.
Picky.
Hang on a little bit.
All right. Now it shows it. You must use the word parish. It prefers that. So this is where I'm going to go. We'll try this again now. Is it going to work? Yes. Okay. This is the home screen for this particular parish. That's my grandmother. And look over here on the side box. They've added a new thing. And that is, here is your number of your village or your communa. That is new. That hasn't been on there before. And then the rest of it is the same as far as the region or the county. The Fylke is Auslandet. Here are your church divisions. The Prestegeld is in Loam. That's the parish. And this is the like the diocese or the headquarters for that region. In Lutheran terminology, it'd be the synod. And like Iowa, it's the Iowa Synod. And then the prosty is the subcommittee or the subgroup within there. And like Des Moines is in the Southeast Iowa Synod division. So these are your church divisions that you need to know. Then over the years, back you can see in the 1500s, 1600s, the counties were called lenses, and then they were called amts, and now they're called Fylke. And these are the names where you would look. So my particular community was originally under Akerhus, way back. And then it was a combination of Gudbrandal and Hedemarken and Akerhus and Opland and Christians. And the names changed. And you've got to know these names when you're doing this looking. And this is where I'm referring to as the places. And this is the map that's going to tell you the different locations. The other thing that's new is they have the farm names right up here in front. And so first, every farm has their own number. And so it's the number and then the name of the farm. Now, these are the main guards, the farms. And so my Auker's farm is guard number 61. Remember, I keep telling you, you got to know the number of your farm and the numbers of your village. So here they are on this very first page, nice and handy. And they're alphabetical. Okay, so Auker's, now we scroll down a little bit. And luckily enough, this isn't going to be true for everybody. But there have been the big books for the county. And there are 4 of them for Opland, or for Loam, rather. And you notice to come down here, they're alphabetical again, but let me get down here a little further. Here starts Aukerst, and more Aukers, and more Aukers, and more Aukers, and more and more. And then there are also a whole bunch of guards that don't have the word Aukerst in them. And that's where you get it from the Big book. The name there, I think there are 21 different brooks on the Aukers guard right now. But here are the names of all of the brooks. That is neat. And you scroll down, they're all alphabetical. And they never do have anything with the surrounding parishes. But here are the census. Oh, I see. I had a program that was trying to do an update. Here are the census that are available for this particular community. And here are the history of the Kirka books. Kirka book, Bruka. How do I say it, Marie? Kirka
Hold
book.
on a second. Kirkebøker.
Kiskaburka. Okay.
Kirke. And so, of course, the O with a slash through it is Ø. Kirkebøker. Kirkebøker.
Okay.
And it means church books.
Yeah.
I think maybe you just said that. Okay.
Okay, and this tells us that the church book started in 1733, and they are available for our research through 1922. We can't see anything in the church books beyond 1922. And this is where it tells you the names of the songs, the smaller congregations within the Loam parish. So there's Loam, Garmo, Boverdal, and then there also, until 1864, Chalk and Norberg were included. So like Luan, you have people in Chalk, if I remember right. And so they're going to be included in the Loam book until 1864, and then they have their own books. Just so, this is why you want to read this section about church records, the names of those smaller congregations, and the histories on those. It talks about the court records. We're not doing court records right now. It has immigration stuff, land and property, and goes on with the other records that are helpful. Then you come all the way down to the bottom, and I really like this. There's a blurb about the naming customs. We're going to talk just briefly on that. And then there's the Norway feast day calendars.
Mhm.
There are, I'm going to, well, as long as I'm talking about this, we'll talk, this is number 5 on your handout. There are 2 different kinds of calendars. There's the civil calendar, which starts in January, but there's a liturgical or church calendar. And we're going to get into that. And the church calendar will list these feast days by name. And so it will refer to unusual names and that don't mean anything to you. you have to come to this feast day. And I'm going to show you what the calendar looks like. It talks about it. And you come down and let's say,
Wow.
yeah, this is really neat. Let's say that you are dealing with the year, we'll just say 1812. And here are the names that you may find in the church book. These are Latin names, and these are the movable feast days. And then the conversion date. Now you're going to want to do the conversion on your genealogy program rather than, because most people aren't going to know what's the fourth Sunday of Epiphany. And then over here is another, this is what the Norwegian wording will be. Now, some ministers will have used the Latin date and some will use the Norwegian date. And so this is just a really handy reference to help you identify the dates. Now, it doesn't list every day of the year. These are feast dates. Here's Easter. Pascha. So in 1812, Easter was on the 29th of March. I don't remember. It's about the same this year as that. And then we have the Sundays after Easter. And then we have the Sundays of Trinity, and that's the longest year. And then some churches, they start their books on the first Sunday of Advent, which is the 4 Sundays before Christmas. And we're going to get into a sample of that in a little bit. But that's where this calendar is so handy for converting those dates. And it is so handy when you can easily see it right here on the Family Search Wiki. Right there, Norway Feast Day Calendars. This article just gets into talking about dates and calendars in general. Norway switched over to the current calendar in 1700. There are very few books, church books, that exist before the 1700s. So you don't have to worry about that data entry for baptisms, marriages, and deaths with the changes of the calendars. So those are kind of neat, what it looks like nowadays. Over here, you can do a fast click to get to all of these things. Research help. Here's a guided research. This gets into a lot of details. You might want to spend some time browsing some of these things just to refresh your memory what you're doing. Any questions about the new look of Family Search Research Wiki? Do you like it?
Yeah.
I just think having those numbers so handy is a big plus.
Can anyone go on Family Search, or is that a paid thing?
It's a free thing, and I recommend that you do sign in. It's a free account, but anybody can access any of this material. Okay. I already mentioned a little bit about the FILCA changes, where I was talking about where did that go? There, with counties merged. There used to be a lot of counties, and then they merged down. A few years ago, it was down to, I think it was 9 counties. And then some of them didn't like it, and so they split back to some of their originals. So the counties merged, but parishes divided as populations got bigger. And so Loam used to be just the Loam Church. population grew, and then they built a smaller church, a congregation called Garmo, and then they split off another group of people and another church at Boverdalen, and then Chalk got enough population. They had their own church. Nordberg, I think, Luann, you said your people were from Nordberg. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, shock and yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so as the population grew, the churches subdivided into these songs, SOGNS, or sometimes it's spelled SOKNS. Well, the districts became smaller. So you kind of have to be aware of this little section on the church records here. Okay, another thing with names are the surnames. And I think most of you have gotten that pretty well down pat. If you have the patronymic naming system, you know the father's name, and you know then the sex of the individual. Because if the father's name is Ole, it's either going to be Ole's son or Ole's daughter. Often working with a foreign language, you're not real sure which names are male or female. The patronym will explain that one for you. If the name does not end in son or daughter, then it's often the Brooke name. And that's when you come back to this list. Not just the guard. Sometimes they use the guard name, but you could go through this list and see if you can find the Brooke. This list is going to be fantastic when you're looking at records and you're not sure what the record says, where they were from. Here it is, nice and in order, alphabetically, if you can read the first letter. Now, one sheet that I didn't hand out, and Luann and David, you may have emailed to have me send it to you. And that is the Gothic chart of how letters were written. And you may have to do some studying to figure out some of those first letters so that you can come back and look at this list. So Research Wiki is a fantastic tool to work along with our Norwegian records. The spelling is going to vary over the years. It'll change. And there was no official spelling of anything until the late 1880s. That's the same here in the United States. So they spelled words the way the writer heard them being said. And that's true with English too, in that period of time. There was just no regular spelling. So if it sounds similar when you say the word out loud, you do have to consider that maybe that's a possibility that it does pertain to your particular farm, brook or guard. And incidentally, these are guards, these main farm names, whereas these are also all the brooks or the smaller residences. Okay. A little bit on sourcing. We're going to go to Digital Archivet. And David, have you used this one or not? It's just digitalarchivet.no as far as getting to it. Sign in and you can select the English. Over here is the Sprach, or you can select English. Eventually you'll get to a point where you'll recognize these terms and you won't have to, but we'll go to English. And these are the 9 different types of searches. Search for individuals, for scanned material. Notice they don't have the big white box anymore. This is what you come up with. That's again a minor little adjustment that has been made with Digital Archivet. We are going to be working with scanned material and finding sources and parish registries and census. We're going to be looking at those for the most part. Property, law and justice, those we'll deal with again next year or at a later time. I like using the find source personally, and I'm going to click on that one. And I'm not sure why I got that screen. Because this is I don't know why that worked. Okay, this is the screen to get to a church book. I just like doing things backwards, but eventually we're going to be looking at where in Norway they are, and Lom is in Ostlandet. We saw that in the wiki. And Opland, click on that, and you scroll down to number 514, and there's Lom, and I click on that. And I come back to the top, and over here, you see, here's the filter. I want to look at the church books, and that's the third one. This is the category. We're going to click on church books, and we can search all of them, or you can just select particular divisions. And I'm going to look at a birth or baptism. And again, that's up here. I'm also going to pull up the illegitimate. Sometimes they're in a separate section rather than all together. Usually they're all together, but some ministers were picky. So again, we have these filters. And I'm going to look for a record in 1833. So that's my period. And supposedly he was born in 1833. And that's all I need to know. So you pick your geography, your county, and your community. You pick your book and what sections of the book, and you put in your date. Those are the main three parts of searching on Digital Archivet. And then we hit the box here. Yeah, that's the only one. This is search. And then we get 3 hits for my particular community. Here we have the church book for Lom, Garmo. They covered the years 1815 to 44. Here's 1815 to 36 and 1825 to 1837. These are books that are written by the office, church office in Lom at this particular time. Okay, we can browse, go page by page, or we can do a search. Now, some people have a lot of good luck with using the search. I don't. I have better luck with just doing the browsing, doing search by search. So we can pick our category. Now I'm going to just pick the first one because they all cover 1833. They're not saying which one is the sexton book or the ministerial book. I'll just click one. And I click the name instead of the browse. Okay, I'm not getting my screens. That time I clicked on the arrow. Okay. What you see here is the original book. And it covers the pages 1815 to 1844. Now, talking about census, this or the source. The source is right here. It's on every single page. You will always know the source exactly by this line right here. Now, refer to your handout as we look up here. Let's see if I'm going to zoom. Nope, the source does not zoom up. Okay, we're going to go from punctuation or slash all the way to explain all of this. I know right now what this is, but I didn't know what all of this part was right in here in these numbers. And let's see if I can make this bigger this way. Yeah. Okay. Except to cut it all off. There we can see it.
Huh.
That's using the control plus minus button on my computer. Instead of squinting at that little print. Okay. The loam, press a contour. Okay, that is the church office. They're the ones that wrote this particular book. The AV stands for Archivect, and this is the National Archive. So this book is part of the National Archives resources. The next one is the SAH. This is the State Archive at Hammer. Remember on the wiki, it showed where Hammer was the head of the district for loam. I wonder if I can pull that up without screwing it up. We're going to try this. Going to bring this back up.
Oh, what?
Okay, here, the diocese, Hammer. So here is the state archives is Hammer. That's where the original records are kept. And then we have Prest 070. This is the archives ID number for that particular book. It's not something you need to know, but it's the archives record. Okay, then we have an L. Now isn't that interesting? The L stands for something else. I'm going to share with you, this is a clocker book, not the ministerial book. This is the Sexton copy, the local copy made by the man in the congregation. If it were the church book itself, this would say K instead of the L. Then the L0002, I'm looking at a different record than what's on the sheet. This is the actual volume number. So if you were to go to the state archives, you would say, this is the call number I want to see. That's what this is the local call number. Their version of the Dewey Decimal System for libraries. Okay, then it identifies the book, the volume, the years that are covered, and the page number. When you are sourcing this, all you have to do is copy and paste this into your source. Your main source is Digital Archivect, and then this is the details. This is the book. The only thing that you would add would be the entry number. Okay? So it's nice and handy. How do you copy and paste? Just highlight it. Do a right click, and then there's the copy. And then when you're in your program itself, where you're putting in your sources, you would just do the right click and paste. Okay, it says it's side 2. And over here, this says it's side 2. And here we have numbers from 1 to 170. And you can slide this all along to different page numbers. So you don't have to click through each page one at a time. Okay, so now you know what all of these numbers and letters are all about. I didn't know that until I wrote this up. So I learned something new. But I want that 1833 record. I'm going to show you what I found with this one. Okay, it goes up to 1844, so I'm going to scooch over to about here, 1839. $18.38. It's kind of hit and miss doing it this way. There's 37. $26, 36. $31. So I got to go back the other way. 32. And 36.
So you're looking for deaths?
I was looking for births.
Oh, this says deaths.
Yeah.
Døde mannkjønn. So men on the left, dead men on the left, dead women on the right.
Okay. So we're
Heaven
looking.
forbid that they should sit together.
But see, I'm not going to find a birth record there, am I?
Oh, you should be able to, but farther to the left, because it does say born and baptized. So I'm surprised. Okay, this is born men and or males and females.
You have no idea how many times I have looked for a birth record and I'm in the wrong section of the book. Because I'm looking at, okay, it's got records 1815 to 1844. So 1850 starts here and 1844 starts here. No, because the books are divided sometimes into sections where it's first just the baptisms, and then it may be just the deaths and then the marriages or something like that. So you have to look to see how the books are set up. Now, this is 1827, and we are still in births. As we inch along here,
$1828. Okay.
and there's 29. That's 29.
Now we're in deaths.
And 31.
And that's 51, I think. And it's dead or born. Oh, it says born. Well, that's crazy. Okay, because at the top, what's printed says born, but then he has written in. I mean, what's printed said dead, but I guess he needed more births. So, he has written
Yeah.
in on the left that those are births. And crossed out dead. Okay.
So, like I say, you really have to kind of study what you're doing. We're still doing 31, and we still have sort of births. So maybe this
because
is,
he's still crossed out dead, but not on the women's side, interestingly. just on the men's.
And there's 36.
Yep.
And there's 31.
And now it still says born. Yeah. Huh.
There's 32. Okay. I'm going to go page by page. Now, this says 31 here because they're still
It's for
doing girls
females.
over here.
Right,
This
exactly.
is males.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't gotten to the 33 boys. They're
And
still girls.
nothing.
And 36. They aren't in this book.
Hmm.
Even though it says up here it's covering all of these years, it doesn't mean that's covering every single year.
Hmm.
Now, if I were trying to find a book that was screwed up like this, I never would have found it. But I just happened to pick the right ancestor. So I'm not going to find his baptism here in 1833 because the book went from 32 births. There's 32, and the next page, it's 36.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, I had 3 hits. I'm going to go back and
Look at the index. Or what's
now
in it?
here we are looking at the in-hold, which is the content of that particular book. And if I had looked at that in the first place, I would have noticed
Uh-huh.
that it's not there. So we're going to go back to our search. And this is a quick way to get back and forth, but we still have to enter some of this information again. So we're going to go to the Filka, which is Opland. Press the guard. Scroll down. Now it's a little version, different version. We don't have all those numbers and stuff. It's more of a shortcut. And I know that he was in Loam, so I'm just going to choose that one. I'm going to go with the official ministerial book. All right. Again, we see that it's National Archive from the Halmer District. And I want 1833. And I was scrolling these are all the ministerial books. And gee, guess which one it's in? Because it's still red. You want to go to the in-hold. If you click on, it shows here that it has the baptisms for 25 to 37. If you click on first page, it'll take you to the first page of the book. If you click on this one, it'll take you to the first page of the baptisms. But if you click on in-hold, you get the table of contents. Now, once again, I'm looking for births, and births are first. And I don't know how many times I've looked for deaths using this column. It doesn't work. So you pay attention to your heading titles here. So we have the baptisms, confirmations, the marriages, the deaths and burials, the transfer in and out. This one is just the outs. This one is both of them. Here's the vaccination records. They're in a separate section. Now we're going to be looking at all of these individually. Let's come back up here to the baptisms. And I'm going to go to 1833. Now I'm going to cheat. You see that 33 starts on page 202. Well, I know that he was baptized in December. So I'm going to go to this one and work backwards. I don't want to click through 20 pages. So these are your arrows for going backwards and forward. And August. I'm looking here now. Here we're looking at July baptisms. I can do it that way, or I can slide it like this. Okay. I happen to know that I want page, I think it was that one. 1832 and 1833. Baptisms, 1833. Okay, we know right here. Notice the number. There's 11, 111, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then we're 1. Now, it says New Year. It doesn't say what the year is, but it is showing that this page has 1832 and 1833. But notice that the baptisms here are in December. The last one for 1832 was November 25th, and then we have the new year, new church year.
Right.
Here's Kirka, R-A-A-R, year, and new numbering system. This is a case where this particular church book is kept on the liturgical calendar. The year starts in the first Sunday of Advent. And it is in chronological order according to the date of the baptism, not the birth. The first column is the birth date, but the church books are arranged by baptism dates, not birth dates. So we're going to scroll down now. My Oli that I'm looking for was baptized on December 25th. And he was supposedly born on the 3rd of December. Well, Oli is not here. So we'll have to go to the next page because December 25th was a big day for having baptisms usually. Well, now here we're on number 6, and here's some dates that are out of order. 21 December, well, maybe they're not out of order. What happened? Oh, now we're in 1833. These are the baptism dates that are actually with the calendar year 1833, but the liturgical year of 1833. So it's really confusing. You have to look. See, this one is January. So this guy wrote his book as a mixture of both the liturgical and the civil calendar. That's what I mean. Study your books. Now, it turns out that I'm at the beginning of 1933. Oli is not listed here on the 25th because here this is the 18th. That one's, there's the 21st, there's the 26th. On the page before, the bottom one down, a couple of them here are the 25th. They're out of order. Now, why is that? Remember, the church was the official record keeper for the whole country of Norway. And the minister and the local sexton were required to get together at least once a year to compare the books to make sure that they had all the names the same and the dates and the same and such. This is when they got together, right before Christmas. And it turns out that the ministerial book has 2 kids here that are baptized out of order. He missed them, but they were in the sexton's book. And so they get filled in here. So here, this guy was baptized on the 21st. It's not that far off. And Levo was on the 18th. Or maybe it was just that he had his notes in a saddlebag on his horse, and however he got along, and just, oh, I found these 2 notes and stuck them in. Even though you think you know where your person should be, they may not be there. So check pages before and after, or especially at the end of the year, whether it's a liturgical year or the calendar year, to see when they had compared the books to make sure they were all the same. But we still don't have my Oli. So I do need to go forward some pages here to get to, I need the end of 1833. This was a big time of population growth. Oops, I went too far.
Confirmed.
There's 35, 34, number 34, so I'm getting closer. 110. Okay, here's November. Here we have new church year. And we are in 33. And there's Hans, no Oli. Go to the next page.
There's
And
an Oli.
there's an
Right.
Oli. And
25th of December. Mhm.
and this is my guy.
Mhm.
And see, he was not born on the 3rd of December. He was born on the 8th. So records from the family were wrong. Now I know that he was born on the 8th and not the 3rd. I didn't make the X mark on the church records. I'm not sure why that's X'd out. Normally, a plus indicates that the person died, but only lived. So I'm not real sure on this. And maybe, I don't know why. But we have here his birth date, his baptism date. He was legitimate. We'll get into a lot more reading this. But here is Garsman Halver Olsen Åkers and Kona Marit Hansdotter. There are abbreviations here, and this gets to one of the pages that I gave you a handout. Nope, doesn't either. I don't have the abbreviations list.
Yeah,
We'll get into that later. But the reason I know it's abbreviation, because see right here at Hansdotter, and after this Olsdotter, see the colon? That is going to be indicative of that it's an abbreviation. And you'll see that at the end, that DTR. DTR. This doesn't have the best penmanship, but that gives you an idea. And then these are the sponsors. We'll come back to this. But now here is the source, and this is the one that I cited on the handout. Ministerial book, number 5, and with the years that it covers, the pages. And then, like I say, the only thing I have to add would be entry number 4 for Oli. Notice there's no surname. He's just Oli. He's the son of Halver. So he is known as Oli Halverson, but there is no official surname at this point.
It's because the baptismal name doesn't include the surname. You're not baptized by your surname. You're just baptized by your given name.
Yeah. And we'll get into all these records next month. We'll be talking about the baptism records next month. But I wanted to emphasize that sourcing. I think that's just, it just makes a lot more sense to me, knowing now this is the equivalent of like going over to the library and finding a book under the Dewey Decimal System.
Linda, could
Yes.
I ask one question before you leave these births? Let's say Oli's mother raised him. There was no father. Does Oli ever go by something son or something daughter if it was a girl? or does he ever go by mother's son?
If there is no father, now this is my understanding, if there's no father listed and no father claims the child, then they would use the mother's patronym, but
Oh,
with the sex.
they
Uh,
never, they never go and use grandfather's patron
no,
name.
no.
No. So if we ever just see a female, then most likely it's Mary's son, Mary's daughter, whatever, and that's how they go through life.
Well, now there I, as I,
So
yeah. Marie, can you explain that a little bit more for me?
I'm not sure I know the answer to that one, but I'll look it up, see if I can find something.
You know, because like in this case, Marit is Hans's daughter, but that doesn't make, if she had a daughter, that wouldn't make that daughter a Hans daughter.
No,
But you don't see Levo Hans daughter or Levo daughter.
I was just interested. You don't need to take the time to do that.
Usually the father does step forward, or somebody will step forward and claim the child. Um, if a child, let's see, do I have any? I don't have
I
any
know you have shown
illegitimates.
us instances where, the child is marked illegitimate.
Yeah. And then the mother's name is listed first,
Okay.
and sometimes the father's name. But I've never followed up on how that child is named then, when there's no father named, identified how that child is named.
Okay. No, here we go. In the olden days, before the naming law of 1923, children of unmarried women with an unknown father usually got a patronymic based on the mother's first name. For example, if the mother's name was Erica, it would be Eriksson for the boy. And of course, if it was, and then it says sometimes the father's name was used if the father came forward even though they weren't married.
Thank
So
you.
yeah.
Thank you.
And then sometimes also it says if the mother was a maid or lived on a farm, the child often just got the farm name for his last name
Yes.
without a patronymic.
What is this book you're reading?
What's the book I'm reading? I'm reading this is Google. So this is actually AI, but this all makes sense. It's all in Norwegian though. So 'cause I asked in Norwegian what happens if the mother is unmarried and you don't know who the father is.
Okay, so that throws another name variation that you might have to keep in mind if it comes across that a child that you are interested in is illegitimate. As if we don't have enough name options, throw
Yeah.
this one in too.
And so if it's a girl, of course, it would be the daughter then, so but if it was a boy, it would be the son. But just like it would be with the father, only you would use the mother's name.
So it'd be Marit's.
Yeah,
Marit's.
Marit's daughter or Marit's son or something like that. But I think, if she lived on a farm, I think it would more likely be that they use the farm name. But I can ask my brother-in-law, who's actually a historian in Norway. I'll ask him if he knows more about this.
Yeah. And would they take the garden name or the brook name?
Right.
Yeah, if you would, I'd appreciate
I
that.
will do that. I will not have an answer today.
Okay. Why? Just because he's sleeping?
Yeah, probably. Yes, exactly. So,
Yeah,
okay.
you can let us know.
I'll make myself a note.
Well, we're going to be talking about baptisms next month. So, you can bring that information along
Okay.
next month.
Okay.
Okay. Now, one of the best process, some of the best practices, I just wanted to kind of review these. This is at the bottom of that same handout on page 2. I pointed out that this is an abbreviation. And we can blow this up not only by using the control on your computer keyboard, but this is a plus and a minus that'll blow it up. You can see the colons are very clear. And here he uses just DAT. Don't use abbreviations in your record. Write out the words. Recommended best practice.
Mhm.
Dates, Norwegian records are written from smallest date to largest. And usually 2 digits for day, 2 digits for month, 4 digits for year. Don't use the American version of dates when you're using Norwegian records. It's always going to be from smallest to largest. And the best bet is, even in English, when you're using penmanship that is a little sloppy, write out the 3-month abbreviation of, this is one abbreviation you could use, the 3-month abbreviation. So you can tell the difference between January and June and July, these months that are very similar. But do your dating smallest to largest and be consistent. So any record that you see, and some of them you're going to see as looks like fractions. The top number is going to be the day. The bottom number is going to be the month. Okay. And so that's talking about your preferences, and you can set your computer program so that it'll do, whatever you want on there. We already talked about converting the dates from the church calendars to the civil calendar. Places, again, smallest to largest. So the residence, and then the parish, then the fylke or the county, and then the country. Well, you're doing Norway. Why do I have to write this down? Not all your cousins may live in Norway. And don't use abbreviations for states, because some of our United States abbreviations mean something, a different location in other languages. A lot of Norwegians went to Australia, and then you start running into a conflict of same abbreviations for some of the Australian states. Okay. One other thing, as long as we have the digital archivat up, I'm going to shrink this down, and this is the key as to where stuff is. Okay, I'm going to be talking about this area right up here. And I think I can blow that up a little better. Okay, plus or minus blows it up. This is going to refresh a page.
Rotate, it says. That's rotate.
Oh yeah,
Rotate.
rotate. I'm sorry. Every once in a while you'll get a page in upside down. And here it will switch it to the negative, because sometimes it is easier to read in the negative.
Interesting.
And that one didn't do anything. This little map, it just shows where you're looking at. This big screen is this little part, and you can slide down like this. But sometimes that little extra map covers up information in those last 2 columns. Okay, what does the X do?
It says null still. That means reset, I think. So I don't know what exactly, what it, if nothing.
It brings up to the top of the page again.
Okay.
So if you're scrolling down here, what was that column heading?
Null still, it means, yeah, I guess bring it up to, step 0 on that page or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, brings it up there.
Bring it to the top, bring it to the beginning.
Okay, this one is, now we've got all of this stuff up here, and actually we're just looking at this, about half of the screen here. This
Mhm.
is just like you see on YouTube. You can enlarge it so you have a bigger viewing area.
Mhm.
And again, you can, increase the size by clicking on this or clicking on Control Plus. This little button, and I'm not real sure just what it is, the icon is, but basically this is copying the source.
Mhm.
So we're gonna, and now when you've blown it up like this, you don't see your source here. That disappeared.
Mhm.
So that's something to keep in mind. However, just by clicking on this icon, it will copy this source, whether it's visible on the screen or not.
It'll put it on your clipboard, I think.
Yeah, it'll copy it.
Mhm.
Then this one is where you can copy one page at a time or several pages in an interval. And then we have our three little dots.
Show,
And
hide.
this brings up, okay, we got to shrink this down again. All kinds of, there's information, and this is links. This is clicking it to links. And this is just some comments regarding some stuff that only Marie can read right now. And then there are your settings. I like to sometimes set the zoom so that every time I click on a new page, it'll be at the same level of zoom.
Mhm.
Or I can click where it'll always open up to the same position, like at the top of the page. So that's basically what those are doing. But this link is what is the neat one.
Hmm.
If you click on this permanent link, and that's builder, that's picture or image, permanent image link. If you click on that little icon there, that is going to copy this information, and you can pull, well, this will do the copy. This will take you to just that page. This one copies and to this page. Now I'm going to show you this, and there's the page.
Mhm.
Now you can print off of this page using your computer, control print or whatever you use. But you can't move back and forth to other pages. All you get is just that page. So that is restrictive. However, if you click on this one, and this is the one that you would want to use in embedding a source into a functioning source, a working source into your genealogy program, you copy that one, and then I can come up here to a new one and I can paste it. And it'll pull up that page. And then I can go back and forth and look at other pages within that book. So this is the one that you want to have if you're citing the source. If you want to make a copy of the page, this would be the one that you would be clicking on and then printing it off through your browser. Now, there was a booklet, and this is what Janet was talking about right up here. There's a PDF, and this is a booklet. If you want to copy a bunch of pages, they will say on this booklet for 2 weeks. So if you don't want to be printing off all these pages. And so basically what you're going to do is you're going to hit the copy button here, and then you're going to, okay, maybe I want this page. And so you click on that. Now I've got 2 pages up there. Now let's say I go over here about 3 or 4 more pages. Oh, I want that page. Okay, I'm going to copy it and I'm going to add it to my book. I like that page. And now it's at 3. Then at some point, and you can do an interval, you can say copy pages, say page 115 through 120. And you can just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. But we're going to then come up here. And here are the 3 that I have looked at tonight, today, or within the last couple of weeks. And they're all sitting in this little booklet, so to speak, waiting for me to download them and print them off. And so I can just click on one. And that's the one I was looking at. And then we'll see what's another one. I'm not going to pull that one up, but say I want to print this one and this one, then I can just click. I believe it's this one. And I know I got this set in Norwegian. If I had this in English, you'd be able to read it. Anyway, it's turning brown, and pretty soon my printer's going to kick in and I'm going to have copies of these.
It's
It's not going to either. It's going to send it as an email.
it's funny
Or you
because
can download it. Ned.
2
Yeah,
days
so-
ago, booklet was not in the toolbar, up at the top. It was just missing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so maybe it was just a glitch that day. I had to go back to home, and then I hit something down, and then I saw a booklet there. So I don't know. It was just strange.
Well, and they may be playing with some rearrangement of digital archivette. They, oops. Okay, now my email has been sent. So I've got those copies now in my email. So that's using the booklet. But like I say, you can also just go to this permanent page and print it out this way. And when you print it, go to Control P. And there it is. And you can play with it to get it, maybe you want it in landscape. And there it's full size. And right up here is that source. It's top center right up there. So you still have your source on every page. And that is just really nice. And I'm not going to print that one off. Can't read it anyway. So that's what all these little buttons mean here. And to get to this part is this link right here. If you don't want that, so you have more space, you can click that off. So those are the key parts of, and you got the internet or the kind of the index on how to use that image pane. Any questions on that? Unless you use it a lot, you forget how to do that. A little word of explanation, one that starts out with with maps at the top. You're going to look at 2 different kinds of maps at various times, and I've divided them into the divisions within the clerical or the liturgical divisions and the church civil divisions. and what kind of records you can see under each of those. We are going to be concentrating on the clerical records this time, but we will start out with a one census record. The other last sheet is one, again, it's a little bit different than Google, but this is being successful in your searches when you are in Digital Archivet. Let me get back to okay. The wild card is for one or more. That's your star. That's the same as Google. What you can do, I like the search engine with Digital Archivet, which Google would pick up on some of these. You can use a double wildcard, like at the beginning and then at the end of a word, and it picks up everything that's in between it. And notice the example, if you have just STO, somewhere during a name with a star in front and a star in the back, it picks up automatically all those different variations of spellings of Christopher. You can replace a letter. Maybe you're not sure if it's with an O or an O slash. You can just use a question mark and it'll pick it up. The straight up and down bar is an or. So you can search for Kari or Karin at the same time. And I don't think that works in Google. Maybe it does. I guess I haven't tried that. But that's kind of neat. The caret, upward caret, any name that starts with JO, for example. And with Digital Archivet, you can search by as little as one letter. 3 is ideal, but you can use 1, 2, or 3 letters to do a search. So you don't have to worry about how did they spell Nikolai. I could just spell it, start with an N. Some places spelled it N-E, Nikolai. That's my grandfather's name. And so you can just start with the first letter. Of course, you may get overwhelmed sometimes. You can search with sets using the $. Any name of a resident that ends with SET, for example. Anyway, you can read through these different, and you can use minuses. You can search with a plus. You can search groups of names with parentheses. There are a lot more new ones on Digital Archivet now. And that's why you got that sheet. Be creative with your searches, but you don't have to do as many if you do some of these groupings. Okay? Any questions on any of that?
Sounds all Greek to me.
We're going to go to a Kirkabuk, and again, I'm going to use Opland. And Loam. English. Oh, that way you have to start all over again. Okay, I'm in Loam. I'm going to look for somebody whose name starts with H-A-L, and then I'm going to use a star. because I don't know if his name is spelled with a V or with an F, because those are interchangeable letters. We'll just start with, we're going to search for anybody in Loam, Upland, whose name starts with HAL with a star. And I get 155 hits in all of these books. There are people named HAL in them. I'm going to narrow this down to just the church baptism books. And it says 0. We get a lot of those. Church. Okay, we're going to select all instead. Oh, it's not going to work. You know why? Once I select this, all of these show that they're 0. So this it's not going to work. I'm not going to get any hits on this. I don't know why I'm not getting any. Maybe because I need a period of time. We'll choose 50 years. No, I'm still not going to get anything. Let's try somebody else's. Iris, where was your guy from?
You mean when we're searching right now?
Oh, yeah, let's do
He
one
was
of your guys.
from Land. He was from Land, Land, but I don't see it there.
And that was in Upland, wasn't it? It was Nordreland.
That's correct, Nodderland.
Okay. And time period? Do you happen to remember approximately when? Well, just give us a name of an individual. You're muted.
I have it right here, but of course I'm forgetting a Hans Tollefson Uhlensager.
Okay, we're going to look for Hans. Let's just look for any Tollefsons. Because we don't know how Tollefson is spelled, so we're going to use 1 L or 2 L's. We'll just put in a...
2 L's.
We'll do it that way. Hans Tollef. We'll see what we get, if anything. This is what I mean. I don't have a whole lot of success looking for individuals. Because these are all 02. Do any of the rest of you have success looking for individuals like that?
It usually takes several tries before you get them, I think.
I mean, I tend to not use find source. I tend to go to find individual, a different, I think it's find.
This one?
Yes.
Let me get that in English.
Because I've used that a fair amount and have found records.
Okay, let's try this again. I'm going to go back to Culver. Let's see if this, and we'll just not have a last name. Okay,
Yeah.
and then category would be the church records. And I'll look for birth and baptism. And geography, Opland, and then down to Loam. And this should pull up all the holders. Okay. I was just doing it wrong. I was in the wrong section.
Yeah.
I was looking for find source and not find person.
Yeah.
Okay. That's another error that I make a lot. So pay attention to what search you're doing and what section you're looking in. And here's all of the Hulvers. Now I'm going to pick on this guy right here because he is my guy. Notice how he has Hulver O Oakhurst. That O is an abbreviation for his patronymic because his father's name was Ole. He's Hulver Olafson Oakhurst. There was another Hulver on Oakhurst, and I think I don't remember what his middle initial was, or he didn't have one because Hulver also usually used an O in his. But these are all the different Hulvers, and some of them have birth dates. Here it tells like this one is a birth, he's a child. Here, this Hulver is a godparent. Here, my Hulver is a godparent. Anyway, there's 760 of them. And you can narrow it down. Once you see this, then, and I can see how he spelled it. I can, Oakhurst is spelled several different ways. Let's spell it the Oukrust, and then use that straight up and down bar, Aukrust. Different ways that it's spelled. I want to pick up both of them. And here we have the AUK. And there's the OUK. That's where that straight up and down bar is neat for showing either way of spelling. And you can put in 3, 4 different variations there using that up and down bar, which means or.
And where is the up and down bar?
It is, let's see, on your top row of letters after the parentheses bracket keys, there's a backward slash on the bottom and it's a capital L, or the capital of that backward slash. So like you see the P, and then you have left bracket, right bracket, and then you have the slash and up and down.
So how do you get it to make the up and down one?
It's a shift.
Shift.
Does that make more sense for you guys now? So that's how you use these different, let's see, who else's name might be. Well, let's see. I'm not thinking of, okay, that I'm going to stick with this. The same sequence, the 2 carats to the lesser than, the 2 carats, same sequence. A lot of, especially Norwegians today, use both of their names. And so I had a cousin whose name was Osa Barrett. And by putting those 2 carats together, the name has to appear as Osa Barrett, not Barrett Olsa, not Barrett or Olsa. It has to be this name.
Yeah.
Now, it's not going to pull up anything if I do a search on this because she's too new. She's still within the 100-year privacy. But you will find in church books where they have two names, and so you can search by those two names. That helps you to narrow it down.
Well, the sheet shows the arrows in between the two names.
Aha. You're right. This is new, so I have not used this yet. I'm learning this one right along with you guys. Okay. There you go. Thanks for picking that up. But no space after that last one. Right? Yeah, you don't have any spaces in. So play around with these are your searches for using with Digital Archivette. So that's kind of the review and relearning on some of the stuff and seeing the new changes that as we go through these records, I'll start incorporating more and more of these new changes as I get more familiar with them too. Any other questions?
I have a pronunciation question for Marie. Marie, say the crown prince's name
Håkon.
and emphasize the first vowel sound.
Håkon.
Sort of like an O?
Oh, it's like an A, a double A is also spelled with an A with a circle on top of it. It's back in the Danish days, and now Danish also has the A with the ring on top. But back in the day, it was just expressed by writing a double A, and it's O. So it's not exactly like any American sound. O.
How is it spelled?
Haakon.
Oh, Haakron.
No R.
No R.
No R.
Kon. Håkon. It's an old, there've been, and no RON either. No, what's happening here? It's doing weird things.
Oh, I'm just hitting the wrong keys.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Right.
Now, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it.
Håkon.
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 Thank you,
Håkon.
Linda.
Håkon.
I could have done that too. Thanks, Marie.
I try listening to that more and more. Re makes me feel very self-conscious now, which is fine because it's helping me to pronounce the words properly.
Håkon.
So another good use of using Google Translate besides holding your phone up and having it translate everything for you. Okay, any other questions?
Oh,
I just have
wa-
sorry.
While you're on this page, write in K umlaut A RAN.
K.
Huh?
Umlaut?
Why?
Why umlaut?
The Swedes do that. That's the same letter as the AE sound. So in Norwegian, they don't use the
2, 3, 5.
umlaut. But the Swedes use it. But we use the letter A, like the A dairy letter.
Yeah, I've got
A.
the German. I can't
And
read
the
by
Germans
number.
also use the umlaut. But in Norwegian, it's A. So, sometimes you see here in American advertising and stuff like that, they'll put that umlaut over something to I don't know, to make it look Scandinavian. But that's not right. It's the A-E. But that's the sound in Håkon. The double A is expressed with the A with the ring on top. There you go.
Okay, what was the rest of the spelling, Iris?
You're muted.
R-E-N.
Karen. That's not a Norwegian word.
Karen. Karen.
Doesn't mean anything.
Karen.
Is that somebody's name?
Uh-uh. No,
Yes.
it probably would have been Karen just with the A. I mean, that's
Mhm.
the Norwegian name. And
Yeah.
somebody here might have put those two lines on top of it to indicate that it should be a long A. You know, you sometimes see that.
I was
Like
gonna
in
say,
Haagen-Dazs or something. You
So
know?
you see, I named
Two,
my
eight.
daughter K umlaut A-R-E-N after a gal that I knew,
Hmm.
and her name was pronounced Karen.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
a year after my Karen with the umlaut was born, I thought there was no IBM computer that would put that umlaut in.
Yeah.
So I changed her spelling to Kaaren.
Okay,
well,
now this is here spelled with Karen.
Karen.
That's the German.
Karen.
oh, they're
Thank
pronouncing it.
you. So it is pronounced right.
Karen. Yeah, but if that were German, that would not be pronounced Karen. So because that sound in German is ah.
Yeah, because I've got this as Norwegian.
It's Norwegian. So it's just, it wouldn't have been spelled that way in Norway. But, you know, if somebody here might do it, people here do lots of things that are, you know, different. For example, the name Kristen spelled with an E-N at the end. It's a man's name in Norway, but it's a girl's name here.
Yeah.
And
Now, we will find the umlaut in some of the older church books, the real old ones.
especially over
because the
the
Lutheran ministers were trained by German
or Danish.
or Danish leaders, and so you will see that double that umlaut usually on the A, rarely
More
on some of
commonly
the.
on the O, I think.
Um, I had not seen it with the O yet, but
Hmm.
you know it just depends on what names you're looking up. Again, it's something to look forward to all these names, trying to figure out what name did your ancestor use. And as far as spellings, depending on your program, I use Legacy and I can enter all kinds of AKAs. I think Roots Magic also allows AKAs, also known as, where you can enter in all of these different alternate spellings, because you may have to use some of those to look up records, not knowing for sure which one they may have used. Any other questions, comments?
I was just going to comment. You were talking about the prince, and his wife is a distant cousin of mine.
Really cool.
Mhm.
Mette-Marit.
Huh?
Mette-Marit.
Yeah. Her mom, she grew up, I believe, in Oslo, but her mother grew up in the area that my family is based out of in Norway. And one time we drove by her house, and Georg would be my second cousin. We were driving by, and he goes, "Oh, that's where the princess's mom, you know, we're related to her." And, oh, that's kind of
Wow.
cool.
That is kind of cool. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Well, if you don't have any other comments, we're going to get done a little bit early tonight.
Okay.
And if we didn't have all that struggle in the beginning, it turns out that there was a program that was trying to update. And at the same time, and that's what was screwing it up, and finally got installed, and then I had no problems at all. So I thought I had them all up to date this morning. I'm going to try to keep the classes about an hour and a half this year, shorten them up a little bit.
Okay.
But you know, like I say, sometimes we go longer too. Okay, if you don't have any questions, next month we will start working on baptism records
Okay.
and how to get there first, and that's going to be a census record. And I'm not going to go into census, but we're going to start out with a census record and then get into the church books.
Okay. Okay. This is good to review.
Yes, it is very good to review.
Now, several years ago, I think I've sent out several times the sheet, a handout that had alternate letters that you could use, interchangeable letters. If you can't find that or you want it sent again, please send me an email. And I think Dave, if he's still here, and Luann, I don't think you two have gotten it yet. But if any of the rest of you need to have it sent again, that's like a P and B are interchangeable, or D and T are interchangeable, or what letters are interchangeable. Because it's really handy for when you're starting to try to do these readings in the Norwegian books.
Linda,
Yeah,
by the way, Dave's picture just came through.
Yep.
it did.
Is
Where's
it
Dave?
D Nord
Yes.
or North Dakota?
Well,
Well,
there he is. All right. Good seeing him, because he lives in Williston,
oh yeah.
North Dakota, which is only, well, it's less than 100 miles from where I was raised.
Huh.
And he knows my area. So it's kind of fun.
He knows Velva, North Dakota,
Velva. Yeah.
where all the Grindbergs lived.
Oh, really?
Yep. Thank you. And welcome.
Good seeing y'all. Take care. Happy New Year, and keep warm.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
It was great.
All right. Thank you. Always interesting.
Thank you.